Hello there, I'm Rose. Thank you for joining me. So, today I wanted to chat about things that I wish I had started earlier in life, habits, routines that I wish that I had paid attention to when I was younger. Or else, if you want to look at it from a more positive spin, things that I'm happy that I'm doing now, things that I think really benefit me in my life. So some of them are a little bit frivolous, some of them, are more meaningful, and they're in no particular order. But yeah, I wanted to share them with you. So the first thing is, I think most people have this on their list. It is saving. I think when I was younger, I'd have little part-time jobs while I was studying, and I always felt like I wasn't making enough to save. So sure, I wasn't earning enough to save too much, but those little bits could have added up and maybe, helped me to set up my future a little bit better. The next thing is therapy. So I want to just preface this that not everyone needs therapy. It's up to personal choice, but I do feel that there's this idea that you need therapy, or that you can benefit from therapy only if you've gone through something really traumatic or really difficult. And I think it's just that I would like to add to the conversation that you don't need to be a mess in order to benefit from therapy. I'm not saying it's for everyone, but in my life it has definitely helped a lot. And I personally have experienced a couple things throughout my life that were really difficult for me to deal with at the time, and I had to wait until I was financially able before I started therapy. And it's been about, is it a year or 2 years? I think it's been 2 years since I first went, and I really can see a huge difference. Obviously not everyone can afford it, and that's a really sad reality, but if you can prioritize it, I think it's really worthwhile. I think that sometimes instead of purchasing something that isn't necessary, investing in some therapy is a good idea. But like I said, I know that's not a financial possibility for everyone, and not everyone needs therapy either. So the third thing is looking after my skin. This was like a little bit of a silly one, but I think we all, when we're young, well, the majority of us aren't as nice to our skin as we should be. I think I just didn't know enough about skincare. I wish I had learned more. I didn't realize how important moisturizing was, and when I used to get breakouts all the time, I just decided, well, I'm just not going to moisturize because then I won't get breakouts, less oiliness. But that's not how it works, and I wish that I was more informed and that I looked after my skin better and that I wore sunscreen more. Oh, I was stubborn about sunscreen. My mom always wanted me to put on sunscreen, and I did not listen. And now I wish I did. But I've got a really good skincare routine now, and that makes me feel a lot better. So hopefully I'm undoing some of the bad things from when I was young. The next thing is a little cliche, but cliches are there for a reason, right? And this is learning to love myself. So I say learning because it's still a process, but I think it's a tricky thing to understand when you're young, that yes, you're told, oh, you must love yourself, but it doesn't seem to be possible, firstly. Secondly, I don't think I realized how much control over it I had. I'm not saying that you can think away all of your problems, but there is really so much truth to watching your patterns of thought and seeing how you speak to yourself and making a conscious effort to counteract those negative thoughts and build yourself up instead. And that's really gone a long way in helping me become more confident, become happy with who I am inside and out. And I'm not there yet. I don't think anyone can fully get there. There will always be things that one doesn't completely like about oneself, but going in the right direction, you know? The next thing is making healthy eating routines. I don't stick to this all the time, but I think it just really helps for me to have like a go-to breakfast, a go-to lunch that is healthy. I think having that everyday option and making sure I have all the ingredients for it, making sure it fits into my schedule well, it's just really helpful for that moment when I come downstairs to make breakfast or make lunch and I'm kind of in a rush and I'm kind of hungry and I'm kind of, not in the mood for healthy food, but because there is everything, that I need, because it's the easy option. I think that's it. Making healthy options easy, that's really helped me to at least make my main meals fairly healthy. My suppers can sometimes be a little bit more unhealthy, but generally, like, being in the habit of having fruit and vegetables and just wholesome food has really helped to just be healthy overall. The next thing is being intentional about my energy. I think this is a tricky one, but I think as you grow older you realize that you only have so much energy, and especially as you grow older, the amount of energy that you have to gets spread out a lot more. You've got a full-time job, you've got kids, possibly a partner, all those adult responsibilities that come with having a house and a car, and all these things that are real privileges, but at the same time there is a lot of responsibility, and it's really easy to find yourself spread very thin. So I think it's been really important for me to realize when I need to say no to things, that I don't always have to please everyone all the time. And yes, I want to be a good friend and family member, but not at the expense of my own well-being, and that even applies to work to a degree. So I think, it's important to know where those boundaries are for you and to stick to them as hard as it can be sometimes. Then I have learning about adulting and reading nonfiction, and these kind of go hand in hand. It's mostly reading nonfiction that I think always when I was younger I just found so boring, and it's still pretty boring for me, but I think I'm a lot more aware of the benefit now, how much you can learn and how it can help you navigate all those scary adult things. I think reading books on eating, on finances, just navigating the adult world self-help, all of that, you know, learning more about my emotional well-being. It's really helped me a lot, and I think I just wish I was more open to that when I was younger. It wasn't a priority, and that's okay, but I think it's been really good to create sort of habits, or at least different resources that I wasn't aware of when I was younger, that helped me get those bites of information in a more palatable form. Like, I can't read physically nonfiction, but putting on an audiobook, that's a lot easier for me to handle, because I can do other things like tidy my room or cook or whatever while I'm listening. I just can't fathom just reading a book about something that doesn't interest me, even if it is to my benefit. And also YouTube videos, and finding, like, you know, people you enjoy talking about topics that are helpful for you. I think that really helps as well. So just finding like a nice form of stuff that will help you in life, learning about things that aren't always fun but are good for you. You know, I wish that I had started ignoring trends at a younger age. I think that I did grow out of it, but I think I valued very much, you know, wearing what was in fashion and getting whatever was new and cool. And that's not just with clothes, you know, technology, and yeah, it's the whole thing of like keeping up with the Joneses. And I wish that I had valued my own style a lot more. I think I've only, in maybe the last 3 years or so, developed my own personal style, and I think that means a lot more to me, like wearing something that I don't necessarily feel like, oh, other people are going to think that this is an amazing outfit, but I like it. It makes me feel good, and it makes me feel happy, and I think that that's really helpful for you know, my sense of self, but also it saves money, and you know, you're not creating as much waste when you buy stuff that you know you'll wear for a long time. I think that's really been good for me, like being intentional about what I buy, not just buying something because I'm like, oh, that's pretty, whatever, you know, thinking realistically about how I'm gonna use it. And yeah, just being intentional. Then I have asking questions of people who know more as my next one. I think this is kind of just like a natural thing that people learn as they grow older, that yes, you can ask questions. It's okay if you don't know everything. And I think for me, I always felt like I was such a little body that, like, who would want to spend their time, you know, helping me through this or whatever. And I think it was important for me to learn that important people want to help too, you know, and they are very often glad to share their wisdom with people trying to learn. And I think also, like, getting over that prideful element of, like, no, I don't want to ask for help. I think that's also really important about learning that there will always be someone who knows more about you on anything, you know, and to acknowledge that and be willing to learn from that person can be so helpful just for you navigating your own life, but also so that you can, you know, help others in the future too. So yeah, that's been really cool to learn. And I think my boyfriend has helped a lot with that. Like, he's really good about asking people when he doesn't know things, and yeah, I've learned a lot from him in that regard. It's crazy what you can achieve when you're willing to ask someone for help. Like, the worst is that they can say no, and like, oh, what have you lost in that moment, you know? Yeah. Then the last thing is, I wish that I had developed more holistic goals, both short term and long term, when I was younger. I think the idea of goals just scared me because I thought of them as very like the traditional idea of goals, like, oh, I want to get an A in maths, whatever, which you don't always have power over. And I think it was really important in like it was only maybe the last 2 years or so when I realized that goals can be a lot more well-rounded, meaning that they can have a lot to do with your emotional well-being as well as like your physical achievements. It's not just a measure of success in the stereotypical sense, you know. You can create goals like develop a gratitude practice, add one extra veggie to my meals each day, you know. Simple things that are achievable, that are good for you. And it can even just be things that will just purely bring you joy, like saving up to get a tattoo, or, you know, anything like that that's purely for you, no one else. There is no like material success other than just your happiness. And I think changing my mindset about goals, and also like realizing that goals should be about things that you can have control over, you know. You can't always control whether you get an A in maths or not, but you can create a goal like, oh, I'm gonna study, you know, an hour each day, or oh, that's a lot of maths, but you know what I mean. Making your goals more tangible, less in the air, you know. But yeah, so that is my list of things that I wish I had started when I was younger. I would love to hear everything that you wish you had started at an earlier age, things that really benefit you now. I'm sure that there are a ton more, even in my own life. There's just so much that we learn as we grow up. So yeah, please share with me. I'd love to hear them. And yeah, have a great day. Thanks for joining. Bye bye.